Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing Diz.
Mike playing Nim.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action. Okay, welcome back, everybody. So, a quick recap for those of us that have had a week in between these recordings. Actually, sorry, we'll go in order, otherwise I get confused. Inspiration.
All right.
Let's talk about inspiration first. So we've got Dis and Kenna do not have an inspiration. Dis for very famous reasons last session. And honestly, like, I'm not even going to ask. I feel like Dis gets an inspiration.
Thank you.
For doing the inspiration the way he did.
Thank you. I was going to use that as my reason for an inspiration, too.
Sure.
Dis's use of inspiration last session was so Dissian that I can't help but give him another inspiration.
I feel like you're going to get caught in a loop here.
Lessons
But
still
only if he continues to play his character at a semi-suicidal pace.
Which is fairly typical.
So maybe he'll be alright.
That's what the healer's going to do.
I feel like he should be taking
Yeah,
a few feet.
I'm like...
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
This could be a different mindset.
Yeah.
Okay, so that just leaves Kenna. Kenna, what did you do last session that
I
you had an
was
inspiration?
super inspiring last session.
I mean, I genuinely have an idea for one in my head.
I mean... Turning to a bat, away.
There was something.
I'm trying to, like, remember
See, it's close.
specifics.
Mine was close.
I
to
stayed
that.
into a bat, I snuck up,
Was there...
I moonbeamed like a boss. I'm still really happy about using moonbeam for the first time, so I'm just
Can I
stuck
get
on it.
distracted in the midst of something and want to go kill somebody when the shit is going on?
Yeah, that's super Kenna-like.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That was going to be mine. Is like, you're in this mansion, you know everybody's acting funny, and you still went down into the dungeon with 4 dudes to heal some people.
Yeah.
That's true.
Like, nah,
That's
I mean, I
that's
feel like...
super Kenna.
I feel
I feel like anybody else would be like, nah, dude. I see where this is going, and no. So I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna give it for that. Because to be honest, it was a 50-50 split for me whether Kenna didn't go down there or not.
Really?
I was like, I'm gonna set this up, and like, there's a 50-50 shot. Kenna's just gonna be like, no, I don't think so, Jesse.
Not today.
I see where you're fucking going with this, and it ain't happening.
See, and it never crossed my mind to not go. Because
Well, yeah,
Kenna
'cause
would
you're a
go.
healer.
Can of power?
Kenna Power. So, that's that. I did want to mention, because I actually, one of the people in our Discord actually asked me about it in a private thing, and it's not like we don't give experience, it's that because of how we've been doing things with the downtime activities, I've basically just been pooling all of your experience, so that's how you guys are going to level, basically, after this arc is done, is all the experience you've earned this whole time. So rather than hand it out one at a time in kind of a haphazard sort of way, I've just been holding on to it. So look forward to that, especially from all these fights, because some of these have a fair amount of experience attached to them, so, you know. Enjoy that. We'll probably be leveling by the end of this session, I would expect, unless you all party wipe, in which case, then we'll do something else.
Thanks
That's
for
not going to happen.
Well, I mean, that's really not up to me.
I will heal you.
The world has been set in motion. All I can do now is roll.
Alright, we have to put
Also
a
do
new
that
rule
one.
into place where Kenna's only allowed to heal people after they're, like, actually down.
Ooh, very serious restriction on heals.
I mean, I could.
Yeah,
Use your action economy first.
The other thing I could do is instead of unicorning spiriting, I could bear spirit everyone, and you guys would get 5 hit points plus my druid level, so you would get...
I feel like over the course of a fight, you're...
I heal you for much more than that in the course of a fight, honestly.
Isn't there another spirit too?
Yeah,
The hawk
that's
spirit.
That's like the
perception
RP.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the bear spirit also gives you advantage with strength checks. So those ones just aren't as useful as my unicorn.
So that means all the times Lazarus was standing there struggling to lift something, you could have helped.
Yeah, but I only regain my spirit not often.
Yeah, well...
It was training for Lazarus.
Now, with that in mind, while we're talking about things people can do to save each other, I have reminded the party just off recording that they all have inventories with things in them. that could maybe be useful, so we'll have to see how that's applied. And there was a little bit of discussion just off the mic about what to do next, so hopefully they've got a firm plan in mind.
We have no firm plan in mind.
Alright. Hopefully a firm plan will generate while I tell everybody what happened last session. So, last session, it was time to come back to Wallace's place and for Dis and Nim to explain how and why certain things happened at a warehouse. That blew up, and some girls went missing, and a man was murdered. Anyway, it was all to explain these things. However, on their way there, some other things started to happen, like Kenna was invited down to the dungeon to heal some people that were having some problems with pain, and before she knew it, she was being attacked by some sort of zombie-type demon things. She got out of there okay, and in that same moment, Lazarus also had his own encounter with shady demon zombie type things, and even Nim and Dis got to see a little bit of that when they saw some people fighting in the main stairwell, and overall the party did all right. They killed the various things that were fighting them or ran away from them, as the case may be, and then they had to watch not a friend of Nim's, but an acquaintance of Nim's fireball another demon and immediately make a much larger demon that they then had to fight in the central stairway, and then an even larger demon showed up from the basement, presumably from the mobs maybe Kenna left behind. Nobody can say for sure.
I didn't leave mobs behind. I don't know what you're talking about.
But, so that leaves us in a situation where, as a quick refresher, Lazarus is out of spell slots as his paladin. Everybody else has a decent amount of damage done to them, but not anything too unrecoverable from, and I think everybody has at least some of their stuff left, except for Dis, who I think is out of superiority die.
Yeah.
The party's kind of debating if they can find a way to sneak a short rest in before they need to go talk to Wallace. Because up until now, Wallace's direct involvement in the situation is relatively unknown. I mean, we know he's a big man who doesn't move very fast, so there's a good chance he's still up in his room somewhere, but we haven't really heard from him in a little while, so I think that's as good a place as any to kind of give control back to you guys and see what the plan is.
What's the plan?
Try not to die.
I like
It's a solid plan.
I
So,
think we should-
anyone seen where these are coming from?
Everywhere?
That's not helpful.
The people
I
are
didn't say
turning
what.
into this.
Well,
You saw this?
When I went
You did.
down to the dungeons to heal the people, they turned into them. So I have seen this.
So these are the guards.
These are the guards.
Lovely.
So, can I perception check quickly just to see if I hear any commotion or like footsteps or anything around us?
Of course.
I'm gonna take a stroll down the hall where that mage guy was.
Down the hall where the mage guy was. Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna go check if he's staying warm.
Sure. Give it a perception check as well. We'll kind of see what you see down there.
Caught me slipping. There's a...
Kenna?
18.
Okay. Kenna takes a moment, settles down, tries to calm her breathing, and gives a listen to the rest of the house. The house seems fairly quiet. Every once in a while you catch a faint whiff of what you think might be a growl or a noise, but the instances of those continue to dwindle even as you're listening to them, until the house sort of echoes with an eerie silence.
That's terrifying.
I was rolling perception, you said?
Yes.
Passive 15.
Passive 15. So you walk down the hallway where this mage was that created that barbed, which then became a barbed fuzzy demon. And you, sure enough, like, you can see the guards he was with and the mage. He definitely doesn't look recoverable. I mean, I'd have you do a medicine check, but the dude's missing his face.
Oh.
So, I mean, probably not. But, yeah, I mean, overall, there's not much else down that hallway. There is still the usual things like the very nice artwork, the fancy furniture, nice curtains, but everything's got kind of this... Somebody's gone through here like a hurricane look to it. The drapes have been ripped. Some of the furniture is broken. You know, stuff like that. It just looks like the hallway had a bit of a rough time. Same as Kenna, you've been paying attention, and you also hear this dwindling commotion until everything seems to have gone fairly silent. The house, for now it seems, sleeps.
Well, I go, sorry, friend, and loot the mage, or whoever's there.
Sure.
See if anyone's got
All
something
right,
usable.
let's do some dead body looting. Okay.
I want.
I have to admit, I didn't think it would be Lazarus.
Neither did I.
So,
Well, I mean, we're still in a situation.
Not at all. You don't have to explain it to me.
Nim, do you sell the powder? The blue powder? Do you want to do...
What's up the blue powder?
I pull up the red powder. I'm like, you want to do some tests on these bodies?
Oh, good lord, are you serious?
Yeah, just minor tests. Figure out a little bit more of what these vials can do. I have a feeling that something related to those powders would happening inside the mansion.
So,
What kind of bodies are you pointing to?
Any of the mutated.
Okay.
So any of the, or the two mutated ones, I suppose. Probably the bigger one. Makes more of a
The one that's still vaguely barbed and covered in sheep's wool? Or do you mean the even bigger one that came from the basement?
I was thinking of the even bigger one, but now I'm second guessing myself.
I will remind you all as well that I assumed when Lazarus said he was going to go check out that other hallway that he climbed up the rubble out of the smaller room you all fell into.
Right, we were down at floor.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, we're not on the main.
I mean, honestly, the collapse was fairly haphazard, so it was pretty easy for Lazarus to climb up.
Just quick question. When I was in the basement, when he released the gas, he turned back into a human, or he looked more human than zombie, right?
He looked less bloated,
Less
not
bloated.
more human.
Yeah, he's just
That's
deflated.
not human.
Just released, the gas.
I have fun visuals in my head now, sorry. I'm gonna pass that along.
Okay, so you pass along that these things deflated upon releasing themselves. In the meantime, so Nim and Dis have kind of huddled together to talk over these dead bodies, and Lazarus has gone on a bit of a looting spree, so let's see what he's found. So roll investigation.
Investigation. Hold on, I think I got -1.
Okay.
Let me just check. Yes, 18.
18. Okay. So Lazarus digs through these more human-looking bodies. He finds a little bit of stuff. Nothing too crazy. You find about 48 gold, just kind of split between the bodies.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit of pocket money for lunches and stuff, one would imagine. And there are a couple of pieces of gear. There's a little dagger, a little iron dagger, and there's a set of leather armor. Do with that what you will. The others also had some armor and that kind of stuff, but the mage was really the only one that kind of survived a little bit more. The rest of them, because they had to fight the things face to face, a lot of their gear is completely torn up.
Mm-hmm.
Even their cloaks and stuff are just shredded beyond belief. Though, I mean, if some of you had mending or something, you probably, or if you found a sewer. But if you want them, there are 4 cloaks, but they are ripped to a fairly significant degree.
I probably only take the dagger.
Okay, leave the leather armor.
Well, I mean, does anyone... I suppose I'll, back down the hall. Does anyone need leather?
What shape is it in?
I'll just hold it up.
Relatively human-sized.
No, like condition, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. It was on the mage, so...
I'll take it.
I mean, if nothing else, you know, back in the good old days, it would have been about 10 gold. You're not sure what it's worth here.
Well, I only have the set I'm wearing and a mostly destroyed set, so...
Yeah, no, a second set of armor is never remiss.
Alright, and Lazarus doesn't have any edge thing to even cut this, so I'll just...
Take a dagger
take a
to...
dagger.
I want to look around the room.
Which room? Do you go back upstairs or the basement? That you
Actually, the
went in?
basement first, and then I will go upstairs afterwards, following around Lazarus for looting. I'm looking for valuables on the walls. This guy's rich as shit. I want to see...
I mean, I would deal with the master of the house before looting his house.
Yeah,
but,
so
Well, I mean, as we're going along, I want to take, inventory of
Oh,
things
okay.
that
I
look
can
like they're
give
more
you.
valuable.
Yeah, I can give you inventory.
Like pictures
I mean,
and stuff.
honestly, Dis to a certain degree, I imagine, has been kind of doing this the whole time.
Yeah.
What with how you do.
And I joined the Thieves Guild too.
Yeah,
so.
I mean,
Him and I are there.
Wallace's house is very nice. There are very pretty paintings, several of them rimmed in frames of leafed gold. There are, candelabras, stuff like that. I mean, he's got a decent amount of just raw material in the house.
So I want to, basically as we go through and we're going through areas, I just want to take down valuable things and kind of like put them into a centralized area or just like kind of move them into a corner of the room type of thing.
Okay, just
For
kind of
future
slowly
acquisition,
starting
yeah.
to... Okay, yeah. I mean, how much time do you want to dedicate to that?
Not a huge amount of time, just like kind of spare time we have going around. So like if I saw a picture, I'd just be like, oh, pop it off the wall if it's something that's not mounted super hard to the wall. And
most of them are mounted pretty good. They take a little while longer to get down, but the easy stuff like candelabras, nice dishware, decorative knickknacks.
I'm basically
stuff like
going
that
for
you can
things that I would
probably-
think to a
yeah.
fence would go for like more than 10 gold. So
Okay,
anything below
okay.
that.
So try not to pick up everything, just kind of maybe some of the nicer
And
items.
as we're going through rushes and stuff like that, we're going pretty quick. And Dis wouldn't have a huge amount of time to do this. Maybe even like 50 gold or 100 gold, like the very valuable.
Try to pick
stuff
something
you
big.
can
Okay. The other thing would be... Yeah, we can deal with that later. Okay, so in the meantime, so Lazarus is looting bodies, Dis is kind of taking a look at stuff. Nim and Dis, you guys were talking about something to do with the bodies.
see. Yeah, and I guess I
Yeah,
continue
I'll-
this conversation as
I'll walk up to after Dis mentions about we should test the powder out, I'll walk up to the big body and I'll like walk up to its mouth and I'll like uncork the thing.
the blue stuff.
Which
Blue
one?
stu- the blue stuff.
Okay, because
I got the red
Okay, I didn't realize if you guys had, combined them or not.
No. Combine them.
I mean, given
We
them
can
both
try.
to the same person.
Oh,
Oh.
okay. I was like,
I was
that
like-
seems like a bad idea.
I'm curious now.
And I'll kind of like try to like tap a few grains of the blue powder
Into where?
into his mouth.
Okay. Where is everybody else while Nim is doing this?
I was only checking the.
I love the panic.
So Lazarus would have been above probably already. Dis
Yeah.
wouldn't have been inventorying yet, so when we were talking about the powder, he'd still be close by.
Nearby.
I wanted to
So
see that.
where did you guys
Lazarus,
go
you were
to
just
do the
gonna say you
powder?
were...
Same
Yeah, I only went to
In
check that
basement,
mage.
We're
so-
doing it to the guy who body.
Where's
swap
Kenna?
this down here?
I didn't leave the room, so.
Okay. So, Nim, you're a tiny man with deft hands. Exactly how many grains are you trying to get into this thing's mouth? Like, how sparing are you being with this powder?
At first, because I don't know what the effect's gonna be, so I want to be like...
I will, just as a visual reference, they're probably about this big, give or take. So there's maybe, geez, what is that? Like less than 50 milliliters in there?
So, I know, like, 2 or 3 grains of it.
One mole.
1 mole, exactly 1 mole. Okay, so you lean over the thing. Are you holding its mouth open? Like, it's got that big frog mouth, so, like, how's that working?
I look at this and I'm like,
Like, I pull out my weapons and I'm just like,
Just pry the mouth open?
yeah, I just use the
Nice.
flats of the blade.
Okay. So, you take the blue powder and you try to drop like 2 or 3 grains into this thing's mouth. You drop them in there, and as they collide with the tissue of the tongue, there's a faint blue glow, and you notice the tongue shrinks down to maybe, say, a more normal human-sized tongue. But the effect stops there.
so... Just wherever it touches, it seems?
All I can tell you is what happened.
Or the mouth.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to waste it. 'Cause we gotta
No,
deal
you don't
with
want to waste it,
Wallace.
especially if you deal with Wallace, who already weighed 900 pounds.
Alright. One more test.
That's wrong.
Oh god! Oh
Okay.
god!
This is a bad idea.
I pop the red,
Okay.
the blood plate.
I'll put the cork back on the blue.
Okay.
I'm like, we want to step back a little bit. Since that one made this smaller, I don't know. This one's gonna make it bigger.
I'll like step back however many feet I can and hold the mouth open with mage hand.
Okay. Mage Hand can do what? 5 pounds? That's probably enough to hold the jaw
10
open.
pounds.
That should be fine.
So when I do this, I'm being super fucking careful. Because I knew this was the more dangerous part. This was the one mainly being manufactured there.
Mhm.
So when I pop it, I want to make sure I'm getting like one. I want to go as dexterous as possible and just try to 1 grain on the tongue as well.
Okay. Give me a sleight of hand. 1 grain will require a certain amount of dexterity.
14.
Okay. So, Nim's got the mouth open with Mage Hand. Dis sprinkles the 1 drop and then, starts backing away. You watch as the 1 grain of red just kind of flutters down in the air, and as it collides with the tongue, Dis's Mage Hand disappears.
Nim's mage hand?
Yeah, sorry, Nim's Mage Hand disappears. And you watch as that tongue that was more human-sized swells and grows until it almost takes up the entire mouth. Like, you can see the jaw bulging out a little bit. And then the tongue just kind of slips up out of the mouth, and a littler mouth appears on the tongue. And it goes... and starts, slithering towards Dis.
I'm just like...
Roll for hit.
I was waiting for a crit. 20...
Yeah. It's a tongue.
25.
Roll for damage.
I sneak attack.
Dis is nervous.
I don't miss anything for you.
So nervous about the tongue.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
22.
Okay.
Sorry,
It's a dead tongue.
19 damage.
19. So yeah, the tongue begins to slither out of the mouth towards Dis, and he kind of backs up, and it rips itself out of the creature's mouth, revealing 2 little stubby legs as it starts to kind of waddle towards Dis. And then he just jumps on it and just starts stabbing the shit out of it. After about, 7 or 8 stabs, he kind of comes back up breathing hard.
Is it dead?
It seems dead, yeah.
I take out my weapons and I just look at it and make sure it doesn't do shit.
It doesn't seem to be moving anymore
I
now.
kick it over to where it came from,
Okay.
close to the guy's mouth.
Did I see any of this?
You said you hadn't left the room, so I assume yes. Lazarus, it's up to you. You were only looting 1 body, but I feel like they did that pretty early, so it's up to you if you saw it or not.
We'll probably just keep coming back, I guess, and then just explain it.
You can maybe hear the little
Yeah,
followed by
Lazarus
several
just like
stabs.
Die!
you just look up and Lazarus is like, "What are you doing?"
So obviously the blue counteracts the red.
Seems to.
So we need to save it for Mary.
Or potentially figure a way to manufacture more of it, if there's a way
But
to...
if we use it,
Yeah.
how are we going to manufacture it?
Yeah, that's why we need to get some sort of idea of how this is created, so we can create more
Or
of
we
it in
have
the
to
future.
find more.
Or we
Where
have to
did you
find
get the blue?
From, it was from
Master
Discomfort. He had it in, his coat or something. As, I guess, something to counteract what they were making.
Maybe Wallace has some hidden around here somewhere.
But then
Based
if he
on what
would...
Master Discomfort said, nothing to deal with the powders is linked back to Wallace's house.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The one he connection.
Well, at least not at
Oh,
the
it-
time.
Now there should
All
have.
the demons everywhere.
What if we mix them together? Red, blue
Wait.
powder.
If the red powder causes this, I wonder if this is happening all over the market run. We kind of did blow up the factory.
It's just not here. It's just literally happening everywhere.
Jesse has
There's
a
no
secret.
We're trying to get a read off.
There's no way, right?
I mean, the
Lazarus looks
factory was
outside.
pretty far away from this place.
Oh god. I want to touch my ring. Actually, I'm going to give out the rings that we grabbed. before
Right.
Everybody. I'm like, oh yeah, grabbed,
That's a good
here's
call.
your ring.
Oh, thank you. Do they
Are
work
you back
in
on?
here?
Oh, no, because I had
I'm just
2.
above you.
Okay.
Because I had 2
I
of the
just-
rings, so I give 1 to...
Oh.
Or I'll
I
say,
want to test
Lazarus!
the ring.
And then I'll,
Sure.
mage hand it up to you.
How are you testing the ring?
Lazarus isn't in the room. Lazarus, come in, Lazarus, can you hear me?
Yes, Lazarus is right above you.
My ring.
Is it go
I
through?
haven't
was
even said anything yet. So Lazarus can hear you.
I'm glad, because he's right above me.
I want to touch my ring.
Mm-hmm.
Lil, can you hear me? Lil, this is Dis.
There's no reply from Lil.
Uh-oh.
Who's the other one we contacted here?
Strange.
Strain.
Yeah,
You want to talk to that asshole?
that?
I'm sure we're at shit creek with him even more now.
Especially since what was the last thing that happened? That we
That's
saw
what I'm
him?
trying to remember. It was the last thing he said to us.
Isn't that when we fucked up?
Yeah. He was in the hospital.
And also the stuff dealing with Lazarus' eye.
You can't use Lazarus' eye till midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. I think we have to contact Strain.
Why?
We have to know if this is happening everywhere in the market run.
Why couldn't one of us just...
Lazarus will go have a look, see if there's anything immediate, though there's not much in the area.
Or I could just shapeshift and do a little fly around.
I don't know if we have time to leave here, though.
Well, you guys all have time to do experiments.
Mm-hmm.
So... I think we focus on here, now, and then focus around market after. Because what are we going to do if the market's on fire and everyone's in trouble?
We already know it's more widespread, and we have to focus on the powder more than Wallace.
Should we just check in on? I mean, I have that potion of clairvoyance. I could check on the market run.
Who's watching Mary right now? Will didn't respond.
She was getting someone to watch Mary.
That's right.
And you don't know if Lil responding is that she's not there or that it just can't breach the... You know
Yeah, that's
Wallace has a certain amount of magic around his property.
Yeah, that's true.
There was a reason they took the rings away.
Fair.
I also think we should take a short rest.
If we're doing that, we should probably go to the pantry.
I like the idea of the pantry.
It was like one of the more secure rooms.
Right. Do you want me to scout out the way to the pantry? Make sure we don't run into combat.
Well, we should probably all stick together.
Does that mean I'll just check ahead? Will we be together? I'll just be like a room ahead.
Also, should I check on Wallace with the potion?
Do we? Maybe once we get to the pantry.
Yeah, once we get there.
Okay.
Maybe you should check on everybody.
Go on.
Shit. No. Alright, to the pantry first then.
Okay, so how are you guys going to... You said you were going to scout it out first?
Yeah, so the way I wanted to do it was we just move one room at a time, and this would just quickly scout out the next room, report back on what's in it, and then we just go through that either stealthy or not, or quicker, depending on what I saw.
Sure. Roll stealth as a group.
Can you pass?
I can pass, but that's going to take a spell slot.
Do you get it back on short?
No, Lazarus don't get any spell back.
Well, I guess I do.
I know
How
this is
far
going
back do you
first.
want Lazarus to be?
2 rooms, 3 rooms.
Stay
Stay in the basement until we get to the pantry.
If I'm checking first, would it be a separate stealth roll for me to check that out and then like advantage on our stealth rolls because I'm giving information on how stealthy we have to be?
I'm just doing it for each one of you.
Okay.
I know you're going first, and obviously if you see something, the rest will.
Okay, so I'm basically
So,
modifying the
exactly.
the DC.
Yeah.
I mean, I can pass the
Sure.
Traces.
Nah, that's probably. Well,
I guess Lazarus will just be like
Alliance's
an
scouting
extra
move at
10
this
feet
time.
back.
Just
From
give yourself a
Nimic.
little
Saving the
space.
shit
Yeah.
on us if you-
Alright, I'll
That
roll.
seems fine.
Let's see what this disadvantage stealth is.
All
But
right,
then also, if I see
roll.
something that's really bad, you can pass it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels good.
I always love it when Lazarus rolls for stealth and leans back.
Stealthy.
Super stealth. All right, go ahead.
Did I stealth ahead for us?
15?
You wouldn't
I
know,
know.
if he did bad,
I know.
but everybody still has to roll. So, what everybody else roll?
4.
4.
17?
19.
15.
So, I mean, Everybody's better than Lazarus.
I mean,
You know.
but we always are when it comes to
That's fair.
stealth.
Okay, so you guys make your way through Wallace's mansion, and a lot has changed in the very short amount of time that all this has been happening. There's been a lot of damage to the rooms, there's been a lot of furniture thrown around, carpets ripped up, hardwood floor destroyed. Definitely signs of both magical combat and non-magical combat. There's a big blast ring in one of the rooms where it looks like somebody tried to bake something, but there's a silhouette in it of something else. And, you know, it doesn't really seem like maybe it was all that effective. I will say this, as you make your way around, you basically encounter two types of bodies. The first are bodies that look more or less human still, but appear to have been devoured in some way or another. Lots of bites taken out of them, entrails being loosed upon the floor, that kind of stuff. The other type of body you see are bodies of these more demon-type individuals, and they run the gambit from looking like somebody took a rototiller to them, like, you know, cut marks all over them, stabbed, chopped up sort of thing, you know, maybe guards doing a decent job of containing them, all the way to ones that look almost completely pristine, but still appear to be dead on the ground.
Well, those ones are suspicious.
That's very suspicious.
However, as you continue along, you're free to investigate them if you like, but as you're continuing your way along, you have yet to encounter anyone still alive.
Yeah, I guess.
I'll investigate.
Okay.
Yeah, you
And
don't want this to-
what are you looking for, exactly?
Cause of death.
Okay.
Trying to find the cause of death. Maybe it's a medicine check.
It would definitely
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
When Nim put the blue powder on or when I put the red powder on the tongue, was there any, other than the obvious visual effects,
Mhm.
was there something that seemed to be like some sort of aura or something, anything that changed other than just the tongue growing or shrinking?
The only things you noticed was that the powder contacted the tongue, Nim's mage hand disappeared, and then the tongue grew.
14.
14? Alright, so Kenna kneels down next to one of these more pristine-looking bodies, and she begins to go through and try to check all the various obvious places. No signs of contusions, bruises, internal damage, external damage. You really start kind of coming away with nothing. How invasive do you want to be on this body? Like, how important is it to you to find out what's going on here?
Jim,
Pretty important.
you wanna maybe help detect magic?
Yeah.
Maybe see what he sees.
Okay. Happy to do both.
I would want to, I want to know why it's not moving as I'm doing all these
No,
checks or
not at all.
anything.
Definitely appears to be dead.
Like eyes, like the
Yep.
whole. Okay, well, I would still be intrusive. I want to know why the hell it's dead.
Okay, fair enough. So go ahead and do another medicine check. Also, do you have anything on you that you can use to dissect this thing? Or do you need to borrow a
You can take the dagger.
cutting implement?
Nim, I borrow your dagger.
It's only for cutting, so all right.
Okay, and Nim, are you ritual casting detect magic, or are you using the spell slot?
I'll just use a spell slot.
Okay. Alright, Kenna and Nim do a perception check as well.
We're doing perception.
Actually, no, you'll already see what you need to see. Do an Arcana check for understanding it. Yeah, for Nim.
That's 13 for Arcana.
Okay. And Kenna, what was yours?
It was medicine.
Yeah.
10.
Okay. So, Kenna, perhaps a bit begrudgingly, takes the dagger and does a very, semi-typical mortuary dissection. She wise open the chest. She hasn't gotten to the head yet, but we'll maybe start with the chest. And what she finds as Nim is casting his detect magic is this thing's insides look like a 4-day-old goulash. Everything's been blended together. There's no, like stomach, liver, intestines. It's all just a big soup of material.
With stink.
Ironically, no. You expect a fairly foul odor. Nim, as you cast Detect Magic, you notice two things. The first being that many of the wards in place in the house, especially in the room that you're in, are still intact. You notice them because they're obviously on, so they're lit up and you can see the spell work. As you look down at the body, you notice that whereas obviously there's a certain amount of magic presence in the air, there's a certain amount of magic present in the weave work of the spells moving into the walls and windows, the body specifically is completely devoid of magic. Like it's been drained out of it completely. Especially in places like the gut and the head.
Okay.
Which, in your arcanic opinion, may help to understand why they don't smell. There's no life left in the body.
I explain this to everyone.
Alright.
To the pantry!
To the pantry.
Okay. You guys continue along, and as I mentioned before, you encounter no specific resistance. Everything here is dead. You get to the pantry and the kitchen, and two things of maybe important note, just with your passive perception, is the first being the pantry door is closed, but the guards are missing. And the second being, there has never been a time where you guys have come into this kitchen and not seen food in various stages of preparation. Being cooked, being laid out, ready to go, on the counter waiting for later, etc. The entire kitchen has almost been scrubbed clean of food. Like, you're not even seeing crumbs on the counter. Everything is gone.
So perhaps the cooking staff had something to do with this very directly. That'd be fun.
And me?
That was some
Never kids,
mad cow
cook your
disease.
pork.
Mad cow disease every time.
I feel like I'm fairly familiar with the kitchen. I spent a little bit of time in there. Probably be a spy. Can I check the cupboards
Sure.
quietly?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just anything that isn't typical. And I'm like, the cupboards, the drawers, everything. This is strange.
Does it look like anything was prepared earlier and the remnants are still out?
There are remnants, dirty dishes, that sort of stuff, but anything that you could consider food is gone.
Is your detect magic still on?
It probably should be. Yeah.
Is there any weird magical things with these dirty plates? Anything remaining on it?
I examine the dirty plates.
So, taking a look at the dirty plates, there are remnants of ingredients and that sort of thing, but no magic. And when I say no magic, I mean no magic. You once again see that kind of, even the little bits of remnant food appear to have had the energy sucked out of them. It's just dead.
The food's devoid of magic. Like, even good food magic.
Is, this,
I guess I inspect the door of the pantry.
is it the same thing as what happened
do
to your
investigation.
mage hand when the powder went in the tub?
Maybe?
Do we have?
He didn't have detect magic on when his hand was taken away, but I mean, the fact that his hand appeared to have been absorbed does suggest a certain amount of magic removal.
I want to...
Hold on, I have a little experiment to do here while you have detect magic on.
I want to pull out the blood, or the vial of blood clay again.
Okay.
I just want to pull it.
Does it look magical here?
I can't remember. I'm pretty sure you looked at it before.
Yeah, there's magic in the dust.
I want to
I suppose at
pull
this point,
out...
just like at the time, Lazarus was like, I'm in the room with the powder again. Whoop.
Whoop.
I want to pull out a piece of meat that I have.
Okay.
Just a ration or something. It doesn't even need to be meat, just a ration I have.
Okay, some sort
so-
of food.
Yeah, something that was on me, and then...
Does this look like it has good food magic?
Does it?
Yeah, it has the... I don't know if it's completely D&D canon, but in my envisioning, if there's magic in the world, everything has a certain amount of magic to it, even if it's just kind of a base background radiation. Yours definitely would have that. The meat is alive, or was at some point anyway.
I'm going to take just my weapon, the sharpest thing I have, and I'm going to cut off a little piece of the meat.
Okay.
I'm assuming it still has it, because it's still connected. I'm going to take out one solid flake of the blood clay again. Or I want
You're going to touch it?
No, sorry, I didn't want to touch it. I want to flick out one piece of the blood clay, one little grain of the blood clay once again onto the meat.
Okay.
And then I want to see what Nim, or I want to ask what Nim sees with it, if it looks like it, the meat dies, or...
Okay, fair enough. In the meantime, Kenna, you were checking cupboards, and Lazarus, you were checking the door. Both run investigations. Let me know what you get. 15. So, Lazarus, you go to the door. The door seems intact. The locks, even present on it, seem fine. Your nearest guess is just that the guards left. It doesn't seem like anybody's tried to get into the door. At least not since the last time.
Okay.
16.
Okay. So, Dis and Nim, you've got the meat. When you sprinkle one grain onto it, Nim, you watch the magic present in the grain seep into the meat, and it kind of, not irradiates, but there's just that tinge of that magic remains in the meat, for the time being at least. Kenna, at the same moment, you go to open one of the cupboards, and immediately there is this face with just the eyes sunken in and the jaw falling off. Kinda looks like one of the cooks. They're just kind of tucked in the cabinet, and whereas some of the other more demonic-looking individuals have begun that liquefaction on the inside, but looked okay on the outside, she's kind of liquefying everywhere. Like, when you open the cupboard, there's a certain amount of soup that comes out.
That's just ain't right.
How loud do you scream?
I wouldn't. It's a tense situation. I'm sure she would probably... Kenna would probably...
Maybe a little gagging.
Yeah.
But again,
But it doesn't
no
stink.
smell. I mean, the visual is probably kind of gag-inducing, but
I'm
I'm just thinking of the
smell is
horror
not there.
movie, just, ooh, oh. Jesus Christ.
I also feel, though, like, as a healer, you see a lot of, like, pretty nasty things.
That's true.
I think she'd have a pretty good handle on the gag reflex.
Alright, so what
But
did
I will
pick
call
up
people
from
over
my
to...
Oh, right. So, Lazarus also had pinged.
Yeah.
So, when exactly did you ping?
When I saw them bring up the powder again when I was seeing the door.
But before they applied it to the meat.
The first time, yeah.
Okay. So, no great shock. When you ping out, you feel a fairly intense negative presence from the red dust. Maybe a little more interestingly, there's a not so insignificant negative presence also coming from Dis's direction. Or from Nim's direction, sorry.
Dis, can you put that vial down on the table, and same for Nim? I'm just not.
I make sure it's closed. I said after I did this.
Fair. And I assume they would have dropped it on the meat, so are you pinging again?
Yeah, and then I'll kind of ping out everything
Okay.
again.
So, fairly strong evil presence from the red powder.
Mm-hmm.
A not insubstantial evil presence from the blue powder. But the meat in the middle is the real taker of the prize. Something about it being mixed with
Organic material.
something has made it's almost nausea-inducing. You feel vertigo just from looking at it.
Okay, well, I suppose they all kind of see that reaction. On Lazarus just goes over the table and pings and just, like, goes white and, like, shakes a little bit.
In fact, do a history check.
Ooh, chasm, okay. Is that enough, or do I want to try for higher?
Remember, inspiration.
I know.
Can be used in surprising ways.
This is something I find important. It's just having -1 the history. I rolled a 14 down to 13. Do I try and inspire that?
Yeah.
It's harder to re-roll that as a higher. You have to take the new roll.
I know, but
Right, that's true.
I will try
I
it.
guess
Lazarus is doing the inspiration.
I don't know.
I know we're going into a fight and shit, but this could be useful.
This could be really useful. Just do it,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Do
All
it.
right, using it. We'll see.
I can't judge anybody else.
At least I do it for useful things like information.
I
Okay.
use mine for important things.
Go
I
ahead.
use the most important things.
What did you use it for?
18.
Okay.
Oh, actually.
So, as Lazarus
Something incredibly useless.
becomes nauseated, not sure if real word, by this meat concoction, your mind flutters back to another time when you experience such a hard reaction to your ping. And you're both reminded of the differences between what you experienced with the chasm out in the real world. It's a not dissimilar feeling. It's an evil so deep it seems to affect your gut and your head. But it's not exactly the same. Like, you don't get exactly the same feeling. It's a lot like this is a piece of that. Like just a small dose of that evil you felt back then.
Oh, alright. Well, Lazarus has learned something new. First off, red powder, very bad. Blue powder, also bad. So there may be a similar production involved. However, the meat that you just added that onto, do you remember that chasm we encountered? You know, sky, all weird, shadow.
Yep.
Something is familiar about when you applied that meat to it now.
To the whole piece of meat, or just this, cut off piece?
The cutoff that you added the powder to. It feels more evil than the two powders combined now.
What if Nim uses a blue powder on it? Does it negate some of its evil?
As a general rule, evil plus evil does not equal no evil.
But the blue
But
powder reduced magic usage in the other room we tried it in.
it may have some effect, but as far as being less evil, that may not be the case.
I think we should test it. One more try.
As you wish. Who's putting the blue powder on the food?
So I think one grain of the blue.
Okay.
Mr. Dexterous over here.
Alright, so I'll grab it and pop it and do one grain onto the cut off piece of meat, the same one that had the red.
You've had some practice at this now. So
I step back quick.
Yeah.
I seal it really quick and step back as soon as I do it.
Nim, this will probably be the last thing you can see with your detect magic, just because obviously it's taken a little while to do all of these things. So, Dis, you shake out one grain onto it. Nim, you watch with your detect magic as the magical energy that red grain had imbued in it slowly dissipates into the air and is dispersed and disappears.
And does it look completely devoid of magic now?
No, it looks more or less like a normal piece of meat.
Okay.
Well, I suppose one more.
You ping out again. The meat, honestly, isn't really giving you a specific reaction anymore. It's just meat.
Seems to have reverted it.
Did you ping Mary?
Yes, Lazarus believes he did.
What did it tell you then?
Traces, he believes, but not nearly like the direct involvement of this powder here.
Alright, well, I'm really curious about what Wallace is doing. I think we need to get into, the place and hunker down for a little bit.
Get to the pantry.
Literally. And I think we need to peek in and see if he's still alive or something's going on up there.
Okay, so the pantry door is still locked.
Yeah. Are we bashing this, or Des, are you bored?
I go over and thieves kit it.
Are you proficient in your thieves kit?
Yes, I think everybody's all rooms are proficient in thieves kits.
I mean, I assume so. We just haven't really had to use it yet.
When I was looking stuff up to see what I was changing, I'm pretty sure I saw that. Thieves kits or thieves tools are a proficiency you get.
Okay. So I would assume normally it would be what? A
It's just that I
dexterity
get to-
roll with the proficiency on it from the kit?
You get your proficiency bonus to add onto it, and then you roll it as a dex.
Yeah, I'm leaning between pure dex or doing like a sleight of hand, because the dexterity of your hands, I would imagine, comes into play. As long as your sleight of hands is a bonus, not a detractment.
Yeah, no, it's... Yeah, sorry, 1 second, I'll just quickly confirm.
I don't know if that's actually how it works, but I feel like that should be fine.
Proficiency with these tools lets you add your proficiency bonus to any ability checks you make to disarm traps or open locks. That's really not useful.
Right. I think it's because disarming traps can either be just a straight dex roll, or you can make a decision at that point as to how you want to roll it. To me, opening a lock has to be sleight of hand, and then just plus your sleight of hand proficiency plus your kit proficiency.
It's not like using tools was just a flat roll, and then if you had proficiency with the tool, you gain proficiency on top of that, and you decide the DC is based around that.
Yeah, I think that's probably how it's. I just don't imagine, or I can't figure out how you're picking a lock without also using the same skills as sleight of hand, or at least something similar.
Because you're just doing your average dexterity on it, whereas sleight of hands
That's
has
true.
a someplace illusion.
Regular dexterity is fine then.
It wouldn't end up mattering. It's going to be the same either way. So.
Yeah, I kind of figured you must be pretty close.
Sorry, I was just confirming the thieves kit thing. I want to see. Proficiency is tools, thieves tools. It's just a base for proficiency.
Actually, at the beginning, it says it's basically up to the DM what type of roll.
Oh,
yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, to be fair though, that's kind of true of every venture.
All right, so I will do a check on this. I guess no advantage. So that is a 21.
21. Okay. So, Dis walks up. Dis, when's the last time you had to pick a lock?
I don't think it was that long ago. I thought I had to pick... Or I had some reason to pull my thieves' tools, a couple sessions ago.
Yeah.
I think it was to do with when we were trying to get around the Thieves Guild.
It was to get the girls.
Right, yeah, to unlock the cages.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Dis walks up to the locks on the pantry door, and with a not inexperienced hand, begins to slowly dissemble the locks. Is anybody checking for anything while this is doing that?
I'll go look in the hallway.
Okay.
I'll investigate the door, see if there's any physical traps on it.
Okay.
Oh. Actually,
I would note at this point, you've been in this room for a while with Detect Magic on. You didn't see any magic on the door.
I have mine traps on.
Well, if I roll... Well, I guess you won't know what I roll.
I won't know what you roll.
You've seen me investigating the door.
I'm still continuing my look to see if there was, any powder or anything in this room.
Sure.
It's a 12 for investigation.
Okay. So, Dis, you and Nim continue working on the door. As you do, Kenna's been looking around. Kenna, the only thing you notice is there's dust in the kitchen, but none of a magical variety. There just seems to be a fair... maybe somebody a day or two ago really stopped cleaning or caring about the cleanliness of the kitchen. Dis, there's one final... as the last lock gives way.
I did a little flourish with the tools before I put them away.
Nim, you don't see anything on the door.
I'll carefully open it just to make sure, see if I can use my dexterity to notice any physical trap that might have escaped him. Because I wouldn't technically know he was looking for traps anyhow, so I'll do my little safety.
You begin slowly pushing the door in. Everything seems fine. Push it in a little bit more. Still seems fine. Creak it more than halfway open. And the only thing you really notice so far is the pantry appears to be empty. But other than that, it seems fine. It's a small little area. It could probably fit the four of you plus maybe one or two other people if it had to. Not comfortably, you're all going to be leaning against shelves and stuff to sleep, but if you feel the need to nap during your short rest. But other than that, it seems fine. The only thing that really jumps out at you is just all of the shelves are empty.
The door is still locked.
But the door was still locked.
The only thing that jumps out at you is a zombie.
Roll additional.
The only thing that jumps out at you is your death. But no, honestly, the room seems fine. It's just empty.
I guess I'm the one looking in at first.
Yeah, you would be.
It looks empty. It looks like
I see anything
we're
in
probably
the wall?
safe in here.
I'll open it, or I'll head in and let everybody else follow.
Okay.
I'll stand by the door for when everybody gets in, and I'll just safely shut it.
Yeah, okay. So everybody's in the pantry. You slip the door closed. Rather thankfully, all of the various locks have their deadbolt side on this side, so you're fine. You know, you can kind of lock it from here
The deadbolts are
on the inside.
Right.
That's super weird.
That's what I was also thinking. Like, I guess they have keys to lock it, but...
Oh.
Is there a secret room
Yeah, there's gotta be a secret room, right?
to this pantry?
Well, we're about to find
Can
out.
I,
You can't check for secret rooms while you're short rested. You have to short
I'm
rest
doing it before.
first or after.
I just mean that someone's going to jump out of the secret room.
Can I, is it perception or investigation?
That depends on what you're looking for and how.
I want to go to every wall and, like, look for seams that could be, like, a door.
Okay.
And also, like, check the shelves. See if they move or anything like that.
Okay, so mostly physically touching, trying to move things around. That'd be investigation. Perception's more if you're just looking with your eyes.
I guess since I
But
noticed
I'm
the
looking
locks
for
as
the
well,
seams.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look around for
Okay.
like weird dust or areas where dust is common, or it seems like it was brushed out more recently than other dust in the room. I also want to have a look at whoever has the longest hair, probably Kenna. See if there's any movement to her hair in here.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, go ahead. You can do that as well. That one's more perception. You're just kind of looking.
I guess if everyone's searching this room, Lazarus would try and help a little bit. He'd probably just walk the floors and see if anything responded to his weight differently.
Okay, kind of trying to check the floor
Yeah.
panels. Okay, go ahead. Investigation as well. Nim, anything for you? Everybody else is everybody else looks maybe a little silly, like blindly patting at the walls. Dis is like looking super intently at the dust on the
I
shelves.
love how we
Lazarus
really
is like
secret room.
tiptoeing his toes across the tiles. Everybody's gone really ape on this room.
Well,
That's
that's
just-
what they're doing.
And it was just like, what are you guys doing?
I point at the locks on. As soon as Nim says that, I point at the locks on the inside. I'm like,
It's super weird, right? It's a pantry. Why are the locks on the inside? Unless somebody was staying in here.
Oh yeah, they had guards in here.
Yeah, but
No, the guards
No,
were on
they
the
didn't.
outside.
I thought,
I've been in this
when they
pantry
breached it,
before.
there was a guard.
When they
inside.
breached it, there was a guard inside. But while the room's being defended, guards have only been on the outside.
So that means
Still-
if a guard got in,
yeah, there's got to be a secret room.
Or the guards
Can't you
had
see?
keys.
Dis seems unconvinced, but we'll,
we're taking no chances, Nim.
yeah, everybody remember their investigation rolls.
Yeah.
And we'll find out what's really in this room when we come back.
Wow, what a cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen next time. Seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Doubles and Dragons next time.